I'm figuring this out. I think maybe getting close, my friend. Maybe. No. His hair is always better than mine. This is always the stressful time. Do I really have something to say today? I think we should start with the right look. Maybe over here. I always want to like mess with this device. It's like there's just a lot going on with this situation. So I used to be terrified of going to bars by myself. A couple months ago, I challenged myself to just get over that and try it. I went 7 times, 7 different places by myself, and it was an exploration. I also challenged myself to have fun as a quote-unquote sexy minx because I was like, well, I don't really go to bars to seduce people, but I thought, you know what? Let me just bring a little game and see what happens. And it was fun. And so then the next logical step is to go as a, wait for it, banana. What's up? So that was it. Let's go to 7 bars as a banana and see what happens. Since I posted a video about that a couple months ago, I've heard from a lot of people on this channel and in my life saying that like, wow, I'm like gonna give this to my son to inspire him to go to bars more often, or I want to go to bars and meet people more often. But doing the experiment really helped me get over some fears, and such that I have been going myself a lot. I mean, more than usual. And it's just been delightful to connect with people. And even this morning, I was driving home from Montreal. I stopped in Burlington for a really nice breakfast, and I sat at the bar and had a fabulous conversation with Cheryl, who told me all about her life, having been retired from human resources in a biotech firm or something like that. It's just been a really wonderful change in my life. You know, even though I've gotten a lot more comfortable going to bars, I wasn't really expecting everyone to be super excited that like, oh, look, it's a banana. Like maybe someone would be mad at me about it. Also, I went to different locations that I normally wouldn't. I went to more upscale bars and, I went out of state, even out of country. Like who knows what kind of responses. So I was worried about that. And then just in general, that people would look at me funny. You know, just the regular fear that you have when you stand out like that. So on night 1, I went to A&B Burger. I basically sat at the bar right next to 3 pretty darn attractive men. I am not in the habit of doing that. I still wrestle with my own self-image, but as a banana, you stand out anyway, so you might as well go over and chat with people, which is exactly what I did. And I ended up having a sweet little conversation for maybe 15 minutes with them, and I never would have done that otherwise. I also had a conversation with a couple to my right, and then a couple more men that sat next to me later. The bartender was fabulous. I had a mocktail, like a really good blood orangey mocktail. Oh my God. And then a really good salmon burger. So it was just a delightful evening. Night 2, I went to Bonefish Harry's. It was a little bit of a quiet night. There was one guy at the bar. I sat right next to him. He ended up being a neighbor. Like he's right around the corner, which is the same for me. I walked there. We had an hour-long chat about how much we love Beverly and where we like to go and things like that. You know, when you live in a pretty darn decent area, it's easy to engage with other people about like where you are. That was really fun. And the bartender was attentive. I still stand by my assessment that Bonefish Harry's has the best tacos on the North Shore. So that was night 2. Night 3, I invited people from my Bananas on the Town Facebook group. I said, you know what? I'm going to go get some wings at Fibber McKee's. Do you want to join me? So I was joined by another banana. And we sat at the bar, had really sweet little interchanges with the bartenders who also helped us film a little bit. And it does turn out you can, in fact, eat wings as bananas. I had not met this person before, so it was a nice way to meet somebody new. She had never been out in public as a banana, as far as I know, so it was like a nice opportunity for her to get out of her comfort zone, but we did it together. It was really sweet. You know, one thing I want to say about it is, just as an aside while I'm going through all of these, I know that there are people who did not come up and say hello, who have thoughts and feelings about it. And what I'm hoping is that there was somebody, hopefully many people, that saw a banana or two wherever they were having drinks and dinner, and it just tickled them. Like, they didn't have to come over and say hello. There's just something in me that would be so tickled by that. So I have no idea if that happened, but I really hope that it did. Night 4, I was up in Vermont. You know, like these other establishments I've been to and I've gotten used to them and I've gotten to know their bartenders a little bit, but this inn up in Vermont, that's not the case. I had no idea what it would be like. These people don't know me from Adam, and here goes nothing. So I sat at the bar and I talked to the bartender, and it turns out he knew all these great places to go hiking, great places to find lakes to swim in, which I'm always looking for. So we just had a really sweet, in-depth conversation about how to enjoy that area. And then his dad comes out, who is the chef / owner of the place. And he's like, I keep hearing that there's a banana out here that I need to come say hello to. We have a chat, and he's from Switzerland. My dad is from Switzerland. He stayed for a while. It was a very sweet conversation. And then somebody from the restaurant who was eating dinner with their kids, they came over and they're like, we just love what you're doing. Always fun to hear that. Night 5 was where I challenged myself to go to an upscale restaurant. This time it was Mission Boathouse. Again, I've been here in the past, but when I go, I'm usually dressed up and a little bit fancy. This time, banana. I invited my friend Hannah, who basically came with me as a watermelon, and we ended up having a sweet dinner at the bar. The bartender, his name was Zob, super friendly and attentive, and of course he's from Salem, so he doesn't even bat an eye. You hear that, Salem? He just dissed you. No, I literally was expecting maybe to be kicked out, or like, yeah, this is not really our scene. Like, they could be nice about it and kick us out. They did not do that. Shout out to Mission Boathouse for really good food. And we attempted to talk to a couple on our right, but they were very, they were kind of in their own thing. And I mean, you tell me, if you're in a banana outfit, wouldn't you think that that's kind of a conversation opener anyway? And like, I just don't want to push too hard because I don't want to seem obnoxious. I would love to hear your take on it. Like, how hard do you work to talk to people who seem very engaged in their conversations at the bar? The next place I went to was Soma. Now, I've been to this place in the past, and I had kind of mixed experiences in this restaurant as far as like friendliness and the vibes and the people there, all that jazz. This was my biggest surprise. While the bartender was not super attentive or friendly, that's fine. We all have our own personalities. I had some really interesting exchanges with people. So I talked to 2 young women on my left, just about Salem and all the cray-cray. And then I talked to a couple on my right about their espresso martini beverages. So that was sweet. And then I basically spent about 45 minutes on my own, not interacting with anybody. And I was just sitting there thinking, wow, this is maybe a bust. Well, as soon as I take my phone out to take a selfie at the very end of it, and a woman comes in and photobombs me. And so we have a conversation, and she's like, oh, is that a banana in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Like that kind of thing. And so we chatted. And then another woman comes up and says, oh my gosh, I'm at this table with all these people, and we just think what you're doing is great. You're so funny, and thank you for doing that. And then another guy, just as I'm standing up to leave, he's like, oh, this is awesome. This is fantastic. Thank you for doing that. Like, adorable. Even if I'm there feeling like it's a complete bust, what the heck do I know? If I'm tickling someone's fancy for just a minute of their dinner and they see like a banana having dinner, that's all I need to know. That just warms my heart more than I can say. And then finally, I did maybe the biggest challenge of it all, which was I went to Canada I went to Montreal and I challenged myself to go to a pub. Now, it was not a crowded pub, but people spoke French, and there were three older guys to my right when I sat down. And they kind of just like looked at me like, okay. Like the bartender was very friendly. I guess that means a banana is drinking some apples. And I turn to them and I say, pourquoi pas? Peut-être la prochaine fois, une cerise. So they were not laughing. Had a really sweet dinner and a nice exchange with the bartender. She thought it was adorable. And then a couple women that were having dinner nearby at a different table, they said hello and asked me what I was up to. So, hey, I did it in Montreal, people. I was a banana in Montreal, Canada. My gosh, can we be a completely different kind of human in the world and be a little weird and out there? Most people just roll with it. It's fabulous. The other thing is that, like, it just makes me want to get even bolder. Like, next time, maybe there's going to be dance moves. Maybe I'm just going to spin around in public as a banana. Like, what is possible if you can just drop any concern for how you're perceived in public? That just opens the door, if you know what I'm saying. I would just be curious, if you're wrestling with any kind of similar fear, what could you do to very gently ease yourself into trying it? What would be a tiny experiment that would really serve you? If you saw me in June and you were like, oh, you should go to bars, I'd be like, hard pass. And if you said, oh, you should be like a sexy minx or even a banana, I would be like, I don't know what you're smoking right now, but that's right. And then here we are. I've been going to bar after bar after bar as a banana, having a grand old time, having conversations I never would have had unless I put this outfit on. So I'm not saying that I don't have any reservations or fear when I walk around in this outfit. That's kind of the point. But wouldn't it be great to just get past all that? I mean, this is where I'm headed personally, and I would love to hear like where you're headed personally about this. I just want to get to a place where it's like, I'm doing this because I love it. I'm doing this because it's just fun and I want to tickle people in their heart, right? Like one tiny little speck of joy in a day. If all it takes is putting on a banana outfit, like I'm in. And I want to say thank you so much for watching till the end. You're my favorite. Please subscribe if you like this kind of content. I'd love for you to stick around. And hey, like or comment if you are so moved, my friend. Till next time.